Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson, and this is As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, what are we at? 5th day, I guess, of September 2024. Well, I hope everybody's doing well. My hands still work today. It took me over an hour to pick beans yesterday, and then it took me another, 5 hours to snap all of them because I had over 16 pounds of beans to do. And then my husband, it didn't take him quite as long to process them for me, but we kind of share in that whole endeavor. He likes to do the processing part and use the food saver to package things up. And I think we got, what did we get? 37 meals or something out of the what I picked yesterday. So it was a little crazy, but I don't know. That's not the only beans we've done. We've done, I think, 3 other pickings and processings. So we're looking good on beans. The corn is next, so I'm not sure that's going to take a while to do, though. They've got quite a bit of corn out there. But it's really good, though, I have to say. We've been having some almost every day, and it's so much nicer than buying it. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the Elder Futhark rune to get us started. We have Rado. Now, Rado is the 5th rune of the Elder Futhark. It's a pretty complex rune. It's a bind rune in and of itself. You can see different runes within it there. You can see Isa and Laguz and Vunyo and Kenaz forward and reversed. And so there's a lot that goes into the meaning behind it. Basically, I look at this though as soul journey. I look at it as process over the goal. It's harmonious movement. Think rider and horse. You know how things are very rhythmic between a rider and their horse. And sometimes you can just gently touch them with one knee and they know exactly where to go. And when you get that kind of communication and integration between yourself and that animal, it's sort of representative of working collaboratively with other people. That might be one thing to think that way. It's also a rune of justice. But it's basically expressing that higher awareness into your interactions with others that understand that the reciprocity, the integration that we have together as pieces of the oversoul, or rather the piece of your oversoul and everyone else's oversoul, unless it's just one big oversoul here and we're all part of it, one of the two, I guess. But it's understanding that collectiveness, that harmony, that collective consciousness that we all are a part of, and moving in rhythm with one another to accomplish what we need to accomplish, to experience life here in physical reality. So let's see what the Geomancy runes have to say here. We'll put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. There's earth, there's water, there's air, and there's fire. So, is that okay. Oh, well, that's nice. That's Albus. First I was going to say that's Rubius, which isn't so nice. That's its complement. Albus is the sage. Oh, where are you? Oh, there we go. Here's Albus. And it's the sage, it's wisdom, it's clarity, it's higher clarity, as opposed to Rubius, its complement, which would be a misuse of force. It would be more evil, where it's violence, basically, taking advantage of other people, and depending on where that is on a continuum, maybe it's just a little bit or it's a whole lot, so with Albus, though, you're reinforcing today the below side with the above side. Essentially, you're reinforcing the idea with the idea of integration with others from the standpoint of higher clarity or higher awareness, and doing things from the standpoint of wisdom instead of reaction. So it means stepping back and understanding the bigger picture, understanding how you integrate with other people. Are you doing it from a service to self attitude, which would be Rubius, or are you doing it from a service to others attitude, which would be Albus, and also Rado? And I think that given the divisions that exist right now between people, it's a very Rubius type of an energy instead of an Albus one. And I think that we all have to understand that external influences are causing all of it. And we need to rise above all of that and see it for what it is, and realize that we're just everything we everybody, everything that we populate our own personal reality with is the other side of self. It's self and the other side of self. And so there's this, it's like we live out the geomancy runes in our lives, essentially. Because realistically, when you're looking at the 8 concepts, you're looking at how is that expressed in terms of service to self or service to others. It's either it's one or the other, and now those differences seem to be really stark. And so I think what at least we're starting out with today with Rado and Albus is coming from a place of higher wisdom in what we do and how we interact with one another. Again, choosing process over the goal. The goal is important, obviously, but how you get there matters. Do you do it by cheating other people, for example, or do you do it with honesty and integrity? Do you step all over people? Do you or do you try to elevate people, along the way with you? Understanding the collaborative experience that gets us where we want to go. It's never just us individually. It's always, either how you were raised, or so therefore your parents or your extended family have some input into how you see things. It's people you come in contact with, mentors, whatever, teachers, all shape who you are. And so where you go in life, you're standing on the shoulders of other people that have lifted you up, and in some way. And so I think that's the dichotomy here. Are you someone who recognizes that and understands the whole service to others idea? Or are you somebody that is very service to self and it's all about you, and at the expense of other people, and denying the involvement? That's the process aspect of Rado that the rune talks about. But let's take a look at the we've got 2 soul influences here with the cards. We've got the Sun and the Hierophant, and then we have the 2 of Wands. And again, I'm going to put the 2 in the center, and we'll talk about it first, because I think that with the 2, you're looking at a variety of things with the numerology of 2. But I'm going to first do the numerology here for the whole reading before we go any further. We have let's see, we have 5 with Rado, we have 19 with the Sun, we have 2 with the 2 of Wands, and we have another 5 with the Hierophant. So we're looking at 31. 31 reduces to 4, and so let me do that one more time just to be sure. 5 plus 19 plus 2 plus 5. Yep, 31. So 4 is about, it's a very earth-oriented number. It's very structure-oriented, practicality, grounding, boundaries. But basically, it can also mean sitting back and really understanding what you've got going for yourself. So there's a little bit of analysis there too with the 4, and making sure your foundation or structure is strong. It can be about practicality, dependability. So these are all kind of talking about the same idea with a 4 numerology, and having the idea of understanding the interconnectedness between you and others from a higher plane of thought, from higher awareness. That's I mean, that's the ball game basically. If you're really focused on your own spiritual development, that's the direction that it needs to go. To understand that we're part of that collective consciousness, that we're part of the Creator, and all we are just little expressions of the Creator into form here in terms of, and that's called the soul. Essentially, your soul comes into life, and but it's not this individuated thing that we think it is. It's part of a collective consciousness that we all that we all share. And so it's that Rado is that integration that we recognize here in physical reality that we share collectively when we're out of the body. And so let's start though with the Two of Wands. Wands is the fire element, so it's very active, it's very creative, motivated, initiative. It's the spark of life. It's what moves you forward to do things in life and to accomplish things. And here we have a man standing up on, he's a man of means, we'll say, or a merchant possibly. He's got the globe in his hand. He's also a bay there. Moving on to the Three, you would see him waiting for his ship to come in basically. But here he has to make a decision about what he's going to do in life and where he's going to go and how he's going to make a living. And so Two is about decisions. It's also about balance and love and reciprocity and healing. But in this case, you're looking at one side over here, one staff over here, or one wand over here. They're so big, they're staffs to me, but I taught martial arts, so I that's how I just see it. You see the life still growing out of the poles there, or the staffs. And so there's still energy there. Fire is energy, and it moves you forward. It moves you to act. It moves you to do things and accomplish things. It's self-confidence, if you will. But here you have one that's affixed to the wall. And so that's sort of what's his foundation is, or this 4 numerology would be reflected in just this one here. And then he's holding the other one. And essentially he's created a doorway to his future. And in the 3, the next card in it, he's stepped through that doorway, having made the decision here in the 2 of Wands. So you see the progression of where he's going to be going here in this particular suit. But he's but again, if you're looking at higher consciousness with the 2 runes, you're looking at here the sun, and also the Hierophant. You're looking at the soul archetype cards of the major arcana. The minor arcana deals with the details. The cord is this outlier that basically is talking about who we are in the stages of life, and the stages of authority and all of that, and learning, if you will. But the major arcana, they're all soul archetype cards. What the lessons that the soul is going to experience while in physical reality, and then the minor arcana gives the details of it essentially. But with the sun, you're looking at happiness and fulfillment. You're looking at awakening. It's the self. In astrology, it would be your sun sign. You see the child on the back of the white horse. You see the red pennant here. There's a lot of fire element here, obviously, with the sun. You see the sunflowers behind, Slavy Ukraini here today. And you see the feather here in his, the child has sort of like a wreath of flowers or whatever that is around him. I look him up, I see him as little flowers. But then you have the feather that's there. That's also found in the Fool. And so it's almost like you've taken the leap of form into form with the Fool, and which is the soul essentially coming into reality, physical reality. And then now you're almost up to the end of the major arcana. A couple more cards after this, but you've achieved some success. You've achieved some fulfillment. The light is returning. The sun is very bright up there. Its rays are shining down on the scene. And so you're looking at awakening to the fundamental truth of who you are in physical reality as a soul that has progressed along. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're at the end of your life. You can awaken to this whenever you want to, It's just that we don't think about it necessarily necessarily. We go through that veil of forgetting, and some people never, they don't experience that, but most do. And so you awaken to who you are, and you awaken to how you got there. And Rado would suggest that you're getting there via the integration you have with others, and how positive that is. And even if you have negative experiences, they should be a catalyst to move you in a positive direction. You see, not become mired in the negative experience, and maybe put your attention on how you're going to live your life there, because maybe the service to self seems more seductive and more interesting than service to others might, right? But the bottom line is like, well, I can get there more quickly that way. Well, maybe that's not the point, right? And so the integration you have with other souls on this planet, you're helping them just as much as they're helping you. And so if you look at everything as in terms of the self and the other side of self, you see that connectivity, that interaction, that integration that you have with other people. And to do that from the standpoint of higher wisdom, to see the purpose in the struggle, maybe, instead of the easy way that you take to get to where you need to go, forgetful of who helped get you there, and all of that. So that's the awakening with the sun. The Hierophant, on the other hand, is a little bit different. The Hierophant is about divine wisdom. And again, it's awakening to that. It's the fifth card from the Major Arcana. You see the priest there. You see some mind, body, spirit balance with the two fingers and the thumb, and over here, and you see the little horizontal deals there on his scepter, if you will. You see triplicity throughout it. You see the two monks here down below receiving instruction from the priest or the Hierophant. You see him in balance with the two pillars there. There's a sense of mastery and hidden knowledge that you gain from the teacher himself, with the Hierophant as the teacher, the priest as the teacher, talking about extending spiritual blessings and spiritual teachings to the two monks below, or the two individuals below. It's about mercy and idealism. But again, it's because it's at the beginning of the Major Arcana, you're looking at the different ways that the soul expresses itself in form. And so you start with the Fool taking its sleep. Then you go to the Magician, where the Magician, through the soul through the Magician, creates its physical reality. And then the High Priestess, that is the subconscious realm, right? And then the Empress gives birth to creation. And then you have the Emperor, who brings in the idea of authority and self-authority. The foundation and the structure of things. That's the fourth card there. And then you've got the fifth card then, which is the Hierophant, and bringing that all together in terms of who you are as a soul invoked into form, and how you express higher self into everything you do, into your perceptions, your behavior, decisions, belief structure, all of that, where you're mindful of that in your life, versus just simply giving in to the ego and having everything be about what I can have right now, and it's like when they when you start developing the I sense, well, that's the ego, and the I am, this or that, or I want, becomes I want this or that, and so there's the ego that the higher self struggles with, to try to transmute into something that's higher awareness based, and so I think that what this having two cards from the Major Arcana, I think what this is saying is that the decisions that you make about your life in the two, and where you're going to go from here, has to be done from a higher perspective. It can't just simply be about taking the easy way out, or stepping over others to get what you want, or trying to do things in a way that's deceptive. When you talk about awakening and with the sun, or any kind of awakening that you have, that's about transparency. It's about doing things in full clarity. That's what Albus is talking about being honest and forthright, and expressing yourself in a way that can be trusted by others. In your experience, that integration again with Rado, having that rhythm with other people where you can move along in a way that everybody trusts the process, essentially. The Fool starts out that way, trusting the process in the tarot. The Soul trusts the process that's already decided on what it wants to accomplish and who's going to help the Soul do that in physical reality. And then the leap is taken into form, and from there, it's all set in motion as to what's going to be happening. It's just the details of it that are going to change, and whether or not you're going to rely on higher awareness to make your way through all of that, or whether you're going to devolve into the ego's, me type of an experience where the only thing's important is that ego. And if that's the case, then you cannot express Rado in your life, because you don't understand the rhythm with other people. You don't understand the necessity of them in your life. You don't understand that things are collaborative in this life, and you have to acknowledge that. It's like a contractor that won't pay the people that he contracts with to come and do work on a project. They don't want to pay those people. And so they're not acknowledging that without them, they wouldn't have a business to begin with, right? So it's like the ego's on overdrive, and it's running amok, and they can't really see the value of everybody else that's helping them get to where they are. That would be one way to see it. But we see it in our lives all of the time and I think that the decisions that we make, if we make them from that standpoint of you understand your integration with other people, you understand the impact of what you do on other people and the choices that you make, and then from there also the collaborative experiences you have with other people. If you have a job where you may be working independently in one particular job, but other jobs you've got to, like with the contractor thing, if you're building a house, you can't just have people making their own decisions that work in that are working on building the house. Well, this guy's going to do it this way and this guy's going to do it that way. You're not going to have a strong foundation because the mindset is not the same. They're not looking at the plans, they're not looking at the blueprint, and it's like, well, I'm going to do it this way or I'm going to do it that way. There's no integration there, and so the house is probably not going to stand up for very long, right? And again, when you look at the 4 numerology for the entire reading, what is your foundation here going forward in life? Is it going to be something that you can see the value of others in your life, or do you just take it a go it alone and you don't really care about anybody else? You're going to do whatever you want to do, irrespective of the impact it has on other people. Well, that would be, instead of Albus, that would be the Rubius side of that equation, right? In terms of the Geomancy rune. And so there's not going to be any integration with other people. There's just going to be the using of other people. You see the difference there? So one's a higher form of awareness versus I'm just going to get what I want and everybody else be damned, basically. They're just there to make that happen for me. That's the difference here. And I think the emphasis with both the Sun and the Hierophant is awakening to the idea that the fundamental spiritual awareness that we have and express in our lives brings us into that rhythm and that harmony with other people that we cannot achieve if we don't acknowledge that and we don't come from that state of awareness. We see it all the time. Just think about the people in your life. Think about the experiences you've had where the contrast is there. You can see, well, that was really all for them, and I don't know where I fit in all of it. I did all the work, but they're getting all the glory, right? And it's something like that. And so they forget the integration and the need for others in their lives to make what they want happen, and see, so they get all the glory, and you're just standing there going, hi, I did some work too here, so it's an interesting thing. It's like when you have I know one married couple that the that the guy's the only one that matters in the equation. I don't know what the wife's doing, but I know she's doing lots of stuff, and surely she had to have contributed to some things in their life. I mean, surely some things, right? I mean, they had children, so she contributed there. She helped raise the children. She worked, she contributed. It's like, but it's all about him. It's like, oh, okay, right. We've all known people like that. And that's kind of an example of what's the decision you're going to make? Are you going to do it from higher awareness, or are you going to do it from ego? And that's really what we talk about here in these readings all of the time, because I think that's the real issue that people deal with in their lives, is where is it going to come from? The decisions you make, the thoughts you think, how you express yourself, what message do you convey to other people, in other words. Is it integrative with Rado? Does it respect that process of the value of everybody else in your life? Or are you just all by yourself in it all, and you're the only person that matters? And I think with both the Sun and the Hierophant, it's suggesting you're not. That there's more to this than meets the eye, and the decision that you make in the two is going to determine which direction you go. And whether or not the success that you have is going to be shared, or does your family just feel like they're just these sort of extraneous people in your life, and they're not really part of your life. I've seen people that conduct themselves that way, and it's weird to see it. It's like, well, no, you're not the only. What you do, it's difficult to even process. When you're looking at it, it's like, how do you live that way? How are you still married? I mean, how's your family even talking to you? It's one of those things, and yet, they seem to do just fine. They're totally clueless to the impact of the things they say and the things they do and the decisions they make and all of that, because it only affects them in their minds. But with Rado, the idea of rider and horse, it's not rider or horse, it's rider and horse. You can't one needs the other, in other words. And they each need each other, essentially. And I think that with the Sun, you're awakening to that, and with the Hierophant, it's talking about higher wisdom and higher awareness, and letting something more lofty guide your hand in life, instead of just your immediate needs and what you want right now, and and understanding that there's more to the process than that. Just to simply get what you want right here, right now, and forget everything that has to go on prior to that. So anyhow, I think that's it. This is just one of those readings, I think, where it's just food for thought, and to consider how you make your decisions in life, and are you doing it with the understanding that there's other people involved or impacted? Whether they're part of the actual process or not, you still may have other people depending on you that are impacted by the choices that you make. And doing that from the standpoint of higher awareness, it's almost like you create a different foundation for yourself, one that I think is much stronger, because you're thinking about how things impact others, the impact you have on other people. And so that might just be something you want to meditate on today, and consider how that plays out in your life. And because sometimes the issues that you have in your life are because you're not doing that. You're not thinking about how what you do impacts other people, and where is it coming from? The choice to do that. Where is it coming from? It's not coming from higher awareness, that's for certain. And so maybe this reading is suggesting that you should think about that today, and see how you experience things in life, how you manifest your own life. Where does that fall in that continuum between ego and higher awareness? And maybe consider pushing it in the area, in the direction of higher awareness. I think having two major cards in the reading definitely is signaling soul is saying, hey, wake up here. wake up here to the fundamental truth of who you are, and and how you manifest your life. So anyhow, that's it. Thanks for watching, and next week we'll be back on regular schedule. I didn't do Monday, I did Tuesday this week, and so next week we'll be back on track, and from there on, I suppose. But you never know. I'm sleeping better, so that's a plus. If you don't sleep well, then your life becomes really kind of weird. It's kind of unreal. There's this unreal aspect of it. It's like what day is it? What am I doing? Because you didn't get enough rest. So anyhow, so I'm taking steps to make that better. And so far, so good. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.